Yes. What would separate you from the other candidates? We've heard the sound bites about being conservative. We know you're a woman, but what else would separate you from the other candidates? Why should we vote for you?
Thank you, Sandra. That's a great question. I think one thing that I have brought that I demonstrate, I do have a background in the economy, a background in job creation, but I think I have demonstrated with my record, both when I served in Minnesota and in Washington, D.C., that I'm a real person that has gone to serve, and I've stayed a real person. One thing you need to know, I am not a part of the good old boys club in Washington, D.C., nor will I ever be, nor will I ever desire to be. I have taken that voice of reasonable, fair-minded people into the halls of Congress very successfully, and the politicians have been waking up and they're listening. Now, you have an incredible delegation from South Carolina. The people that you've sent into the House of Representatives and the Senate are second to none. You have a wonderful delegation here from South Carolina. But I have taken your voice to the halls of Congress. Now what I want to do is take that same voice into the White House, where it hasn't been heard for a very long time. And that will make a difference. And also, to go back to Allie's question, I want to let you know as well, in full disclosure, you should know that I was born in a Democrat home, in a Democrat town, and I had a Democrat dad. And so when I grew up, we were Democrats, but we were reasonable, fair-minded Democrats. When I was a little girl, my grandmother was a Republican. And so I stood in the kitchen and I listened to a debate one night between my dad and his mother. And I will never forget, I was real little. And during this debate, I remember my grandmother, she was shaking her finger at my father. And she said, "Now, David," she was commenting on the LBJ's Great Society program. This argument was in the early 60s. And she said to my father, "Now, David, I want you to know it won't be you who pays for all these programs. It will be Davy and Michelle," my older brother, David. Davy and Michelle will pay for these programs. And I perked up my ears and I thought, what do I have to pay for? And my grandmother's prophetic admonition has come absolutely true. My Republican grandmother knew exactly what she was talking about. But I will tell you, neither my Democrat father, who's now deceased, nor my Republican grandmother would have ever condoned the spending and the debt accumulation that's occurring. And that's why I say to you, we have such a remarkable opportunity to win in 2012, because just like we saw in the 1970s with Jimmy Carter, when he put his policies into effect, and I actually worked on Jimmy Carter's campaign. Now, don't hold that against me, because after Jimmy Carter came in, he sounded great when he was running for office. After he came in as a college student, I was extremely disappointed with him as president. What he did on foreign policy, what he did on economic policy. I became a Republican, and I never looked back after that. And what we're finding is that so many Democrats are deeply disappointed, because President Obama promised us he'd be post-partisan. He was not going to be partisan. This is one of the most partisan presidents we have seen in modern times. To pass a piece of legislation like Obamacare and not one Republican vote? How in the world is this a post-partisan president? He's highly partisan. But not only has he not been post-partisan, he simply failed to listen to the American people. And so Democrats are deeply disappointed in independents. And we have the greatest opportunity in 2012. And so what sets me apart is the fact that I've been there, done that. I understand where they're coming from. I understand independence. I reach out. I am the unifying candidate who's running. Because people who are disaffected Democrats, who are independents, who are libertarians, who are Republicans, who are conservatives, who are libertarians, see in me that I can take that reasonable, fair-minded voice to Washington, D.C. and actually do some very strong, bold, big things This is not an election about petty things. This will be an election about big things. And President Obama will have to stand on his record.
That's right.
CJ.
Congressman Bachmann, my name is Kevin Thomas. I'm the chairman of the Fairfield County Republican Party. I'm also a proud graduate of the MBA program here at Winthrop University. My question really deals with the budget. I'll take a round of applause for that. Would you, President? You can donate at winthrop.edu. My question deals with the budget. And obviously a lot of things are on the table. I'm a member of the South Carolina Air National Guard as well. Defense is very important, but there's waste there too. Are there anything that are on the table that you would not cut in the budget if you became president?
Well, I think every part of the budget does need to be looked at, and I'm happy that you brought up the defense budget because we are fighting 3 wars right now, and so it's imperative that our troops have the resources they need. But that doesn't mean that there isn't inefficiency, that there isn't waste in the Defense Department. And one thing I think the American people are getting fatigued with and recognize is the fact that the United States can't continue to pull NATO's weight for them. We cannot do this. Not only are we providing our own defense, we're providing defense for other nations as well. And these are nations that are continuing to pour money into their own welfare states. So it's not fair to our taxpayers for us to be taking that up. So I think it's very important that we look at that as well. Every item in the budget needs to be on the table because we need a severe haircut. It's going to be tough love. It is going to be sacrificial. But remember what that sacrifice will yield. That pruning back and that sacrifice means when you put your hand into your pocket, there's going to be something in there. It'll be a real difference. You'll get to keep more of what you make. And that's a good thing going forward. So thank you for that question, Kevin. Thank you.
I believe the next question is from Facebook. Congresswoman Bachmann, this question comes from Mitzi. How do you stand on the issue of abortion?
This is an easy one. I am 100% pro-life from conception until natural death. And I will always stand. My husband and I met when we were 19 years of age. And when we were in college, we watched a film series by Dr. Francis Schaeffer called How Shall We Then Live? And in that film series, Dr. Schaeffer said that abortion is the watershed issue of our time. Meaning, how you view that issue impacts so many other areas of your life. My husband and I are committed to life, as you know. We believe that as part of our faith, both of us came to Christ when we were 16 years of age. And as part of our faith, it is standing for the area of life. And we are completely committed. After our second child was born, we became pregnant with a third baby. And it was an unexpected baby, but of course we were delighted to have this child. And the child was coming along, and we ended up losing that child. And it was devastating for both of us, as you can imagine, if any of you have lost a child. And at that moment, we didn't think of ourselves as overly career-minded or overly materialistic, but when we lost that child, it changed us, and it changed us forever. And so we made a commitment that no matter how many children were brought into our life, we would receive them, because we're committed to life. And we didn't know at that time that we'd be foster parents and that one day we'd be parents of 28 children. But we are extremely grateful for that opportunity because you can get money wrong, but you can't get life wrong. And I am committed to life.